Dopamine is not the pursuit of happiness, but the happiness of the pursuit. That is according to Dr. Robert Sapolsky. Welcome, my fascinating Renaissance friends, to episode 209. And this is your fellow sojourner, your life coach in navigating the autumn of life, in my season of life, 60 years and beyond, aging gracefully, aging wisely, and aging elegantly. Why do you think the hustle culture is so addictive, even if it leads to burnout, to dissatisfaction, and decline of fulfillment in life? And yet we continue to pursue, continuously and relentlessly pursue lots of stuff, you know. But at least for me, it is the thrill of achieving what I have set out to do, you know. The completion, having the end result, sometimes it's the new shiny object, so to speak, being number one in my field, in really doing an excellent job, right? And that's the summit. The problem is, after the summit, there's a free fall, and the grind starts all over again. You know, for most people, at least for me too, dopamine is the happy chemical. You know, that's why dopamine, pushes people to just do things, achieve things because it makes them happy. Okay, so it's a happy chemical. Neuroscience corrects this, and I realize there's a big difference. What does neuroscience say? Dopamine is the reward chemical. It's the reward chemical. It is released upon completion, which means it's at the end of doing something. That's when dopamine is released. Okay? So, if it's a reward chemical, it is always the destination. And immediately after reaching that or possessing it, it immediately goes away. It is immediately gone. And so the body craves for the next dopamine hit, and that's how it continues. Now, I realized Dr. Robert Sapolsky reframed this. Okay? It is for him. He said dopamine is not the pursuit of happiness, but the happiness of the pursuit. That's a reframe, meaning it is released during the journey, during the doing, not after, upon completion. That's a radical reframe. Just think about that, my fascinating Renaissance friends. It's such a very radical reframe. Like you don't, dopamine, is not released upon completion, but it is released while you are pushing it, while you're doing the activity. All right. So dopamine is about the happiness of the pursuit. So, and he mentions, in one of his talks that I recall watching, I think it was an interview, okay? He mentioned the trust fund kids. These are kids of well-to-do families that they didn't really have to work a day in their life because their parents, left them already millions in a trust fund All they need to do is simply spend it, you know. So they're one of the most depressed young people that the survey has found. Trust kids, one of the most depressed group of young people. Why? Now I understand. Because dopamine is the happiness of the pursuit, for them, there's nothing to pursue. You know, it is given, handed down to them by their parents. They have nothing else to do, nothing to pursue. Right? So I say, yeah, makes a lot of sense. So my next question really is, what do we need to do, okay, to access the dopamine without being addicted to the hustle culture, without being in the rat race of not stopping because we need the hit, we need the dopamine, loop. And he also gave one of the best answers. And he said this: pick your desires seriously. That's what he said. Pick your desires seriously. And he defined the desire like this. It's really, I mean, this guy looks very serious, but he has a way with this. He said, because desire is a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you get it. Okay? So when you have a desire, it's like making a contract with yourself saying, I will be unhappy until I achieve it. Alright? So, okay, so this is how I translate that into a Renaissance life. So pick your desires, seriously, yeah. Okay? So for me, I will be very selective with my desires. They should align with my resonance life. So every single activity, every single moment that I'm doing, what matters to me most, it is just like a dopamine loop, isn't it? Okay? Not the grand things, but what matters to me, what is aligned, with the overarching goal. So this is just my daily life, isn't it? I already chose mine. Mine. What's that? My resonance life. I've already designed the activities. So even talking about getting sick, for instance, of having colds and cough and staying in bed for a couple of weeks because I'm just relaxing in all of that in the proper context. That will still be living my Renaissance life. I told you that. Okay? So I spent every waking moment on these big decisions. Right? First, what matters most to me, really? Okay? It's the simple things. Come to think of it, what matters most. Right? Second, what I need to do to live in alignment with my resonance life. Every other thing can go. Okay? And the most of all, what I need to hang on to and to let go. The many drama of life, the many things happening around me. Right? Um, what? Do I cling to that or let it go? Because if I get these three things right, then I will be living a great life, my resonance life. So I'll stop asking the question, who do I want to become? This is the future. Who do I want to become? But I will start asking the question instead, who am I choosing, okay, to be today? Who am I choosing to be today? Okay, and make decisions on that, and then the next decision, and then next decision. Okay, who am I choosing? Okay, today, because the future version of me, okay, is not built someday. It is built on the next decision, and the next, and the next. This is really the dopamine loop without the hustle culture. Okay? Knowing this, my fascinating Renaissance friends, what do you think are the desires, worth pursuing in your life? Think about that, huh? Okay? So don't also forget to like so that we can continue this conversation. And until then, goodbye.